Hello, hello, happy Wednesday, and welcome back to Radical Connections TV.
We're glad to be back.
Yes.
We've had a lot of stuff happen lately.
Yeah.
My grandpa passed away, and over the middle of a retreat, and
We drove to Indiana
drove to Indiana
to do that, and came back to Georgia to be here with the rest of the people for the retreat. So we experienced a lot of shift, a lot of transformation, and a lot of things that we learned just in the last week from being with the family there, and then coming back here and seeing the transformations that people have experienced here. And out of that, we wanted to share with you some things, and
specific to your hunger level,
yeah,
and not about food, although you can use that as an example and draw correlations, and how your hunger to grow, learn, develop, level up, and change, and become a better person in God's kingdom, and be more effective. We could go on and on. And how stagnation can take place. Life does that. Distractions can cause us to become stagnant. What causes stagnation? Stagnation is often a result of there's something plugged up. You know, if you think like a dam in a creek, or something being clogged up in a pipe, it doesn't flow anymore, or a pond that has no inflow or outflow, it becomes stagnant. And so basically, when action is taken on information received, that creates hunger. And if you're hungry, that's probably because you took action somewhere on information that you received or have. And we can also look at hunger as climbing a mountain. When we're climbing a mountain, the higher up you go in altitude, the thinner the air becomes. And the thinner the air becomes, the harder you're going to have to work, because your body isn't getting the oxygen that it normally would. And yet the higher you go, the better the view. And there's also less people the higher up you go, because less people want to go through that discomfort of climbing and putting in the hard work to get to that altitude. And then stagnation can often take place when we stop, and your mountaintop is where you choose to stop. The top of your mountain is where you choose to stop. So where have you chosen to stop? Are you continuing the climb? And in a spiritual sense, a spiritual mountain the top is unlimited. It's as unlimited as God Himself.
Yeah. And the things that we've learned and also seen other people rise up in is that when we camp somewhere for a long time, and it's time to go, and it's time to keep climbing up, are you staying in your camp? Are you staying in that comfort zone? Are you staying in that comfortable place, right? You achieve things, and it's good, it's beautiful, but are you getting stuck there, right? Being stagnant, even in the places that you already achieved, and it's a victory. So a lot of times victories are the places too. If we stay too long there, it's going to become drowning. It's going to become stagnant.
And that reminds me of how you're instead of calling them goals, it'd be better to call them victory markers. And victory markers is basically a milepost where you celebrate the victory, and then you keep going to the next level.
That's right.
And also, if we think about hunger, when we eat until we're satisfied, right? Again, in the spiritual sense, or even in the soul sense, there's really no limit to how much you can consume, as long as you have an outflow. I heard this. It was meant to be funny, but this I believe it was Carlos that said, "The more you eat, the more you do." DOO quote. But So the more you consume spiritually and emotionally, the more you also need to have an output. And so it's because otherwise knowledge puffs up if you don't have an outlet. If you're not taking action on the knowledge you hold, knowledge will puff you up, make you fat, slow, lazy, and complacent, and you turn into a stagnant pond. And so when you start taking action on the knowledge that you hold, that's when you call it wisdom. That's the definition of wisdom. And once your hunger is satisfied, are you finished and completed? Or do you ask new questions? So asking questions is also a sign that you're hungry to learn and grow.
That's right.
And you'll only ask questions if you're hungry. And you'll only be hungry if you're taking action.
Yeah.
So.
And are you only asking questions when other people are around you? You know, when you have a following or when you have someone that's there with you walking towards that. Or you're asking questions when you're by yourself and you're the only person that's climbing there, right?
Yeah. And then it's also important on the type of questions we ask.
Yeah.
Is because we can ask questions in a rhetorical sense. We're actually making a statement. It's not a real question.
Yeah.
If you already know the answer and you're just asking a question to poke somebody. Now, there is such a thing as provoking them to seek an answer for themselves, but if we make a statement if we use a rhetorical question to make a statement, there's a time and place for that. However, if we're talking about learning and growing yourself, you want to ask questions to learn because you want to grow.
That's right.
So statements block, questions pull. So questions pull it out of even God. You ask God questions, He will answer in His Word almost every time. In His Word, but oftentimes also in your spirit. You know, of course, there's multiple ways. So when action is taken on information received, it increases your hunger. And by the way, last but not least, your hunger will feed others. So how many people does your hunger feed? Because if you're hungry and learning and growing and asking questions, guess what? And you're taking action on that, you will then have a much greater authority and a greater contagion to others and bring breakthrough into their lives. So that's all I have to share on that. I would love to see if you have anything more on that. And
you know, the other thing too is the distractions with that. Are you getting distracted with the things like the hunger can be real? Are you getting distracted towards other things and you're taking them instead of feeding yourself with the things you need versus getting distracted and start taking things that you don't need, and you become full with things that are not beneficial for you at all, but you're full and you feel like you are filled up, you can't take anymore because you need to release those things, right? The things that you have received that's not supposed to be there, you need to release it in order to receive what's need to be.
I had an additional thought about how this applies to relationships, getting married or having a great relationship, great marriage. And of course our specialty is relationship connection skills, especially with singles, but definitely not limited to that. And how singles will, we speak from experience. We would read lots of books about getting married and preparing for the right one and filling ourselves with all this knowledge about how to have a great marriage. That's great. That's good. Keep doing that. However, what we need to do as well is study that which you can take action on. And that's what we specialize in, is how to show singles how to take action on that knowledge, that so that they can get married instead of just getting full of information that they can't apply and can't use where they're at in life at the moment.
So good.
What to take action on, how to take action so that you can move forward into that equally yoked, one flesh, heaven on earth, deeply connected marriage. And so that's our specialty. And the same principles that get people married also keeps them married. So we work with married couples as well, by the way. And again, our process is just that. It's a process. It's not about us and our level of experience, but it's about plugging you into the same thing we plug into and seeing you get massive results.
Yes.
If that's you, you got our number. You know how to reach us, and we would love to connect and chat and see where you are in your connection skills. And who knows?
Yeah, and answer the question for us too. Does your hunger feed other people? So please share with us. We see some comments coming. Blessings on your week, and we'll see you next time.
Yes. Thank you for popping on. We love you all. Bye.
Mwah. Bye, guys.